Hey, Julia Barzyk here from Wise Investigator. So I've talked a bit about the benefit of having an online presence, especially as it relates to the research funding process for PIs or faculty members. And I thought it would be useful to provide a little bit more context in terms of exactly what I'm talking about here. If you are trying to up-level your online presence, what might your aims be? What should they be? And I think it would be useful to think about this in terms of two different categories of aims that you might be shooting for. So the first one would be that you want a basic level online presence, which would likely include a fairly complete LinkedIn profile and a website for yourself or your lab faculty website. And these kinds of things will serve as what I'm going to call a confirmation or validation, basically of that you exist, what you do, clarify what institution you're at, and provide reliable contact information and some description of what your research is. So the purpose of something like this would be for people who you meet or who read a paper of yours or hear about you in some way and they want to get in contact or they want to learn a little bit more, they can use a search engine and find you or go to your institution's website, department page, whatever, and find you through a directory. So that would be the first category of, say, online presence aims would be to achieve that. And, not all PIs have that, actually, even though that sounds pretty basic, and that usually comes down to a lack of time that's required to even build something like a basic website. So the other category would be something that would lean more towards becoming like a content creator. So if you're not familiar with that term, because we don't hear that a lot in academia, you could just think of somebody who's on YouTube or TikTok and making lots of content for others to entertain others, right? Entertaining content, teaching or informational content, and infotainment, right? Which is something in between. So if you are already acting as a content creator, then you would be way ahead of the game and you wouldn't really need any advice from me on taking that a step further because there are PIs out there who are really leading the way in terms of getting ideas out there related to their research, related to teaching, related to other aspects of anything in academia, administrative processes, supporting international students, finding jobs, leaving academia, all of those kinds of topics, we can find really excellent content creators putting good information out there on those types of topics. So that might be something, though, that you would be interested in aiming for in the future. And if that's the case, then the first step would be to develop what I'm calling this confirmation or validation type presence. And keep in mind, though, if you do that, you don't necessarily you should not feel pressure to become a content creator. But I think it would be useful when you think about up-leveling your online presence, which I do encourage you to do, that you think a bit about, which aims you may want to achieve.